When you stop caring about other people liking you for who you are, you put yourself in a position of strength. When you stop caring what other people think and feel about you, when you stop seeking other people's approval for who you are and just focus on being yourself, you get so much freedom and liberation from all of that social constraint. You get actually more respect from other people. You get more understanding. You get more deeper bonds and friendships with people you actually care about. And there will always be people that don't really like you for who you are. And that doesn't really matter. Have you ever heard the sentence or the phrase or the word or the quote, "I would rather be liked for who I am or hated for who I am rather than be loved for a lie that I talk about, a version of myself that I am not, a dishonest version of myself. I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. I would rather be the guy that everybody loves or hates rather than be the guy everybody likes because he's politically correct or he's always saying what's right at the right time and he doesn't really care, doesn't really have a backbone." When you actually take the time to define your own standards and define who you are and stop caring about other people's approval, you liberate yourself from a lot of different social constraints. You stop caring what other people think and you start being yourself. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to go into the extreme and go out into the street in your underwear. The point is, when you start focusing more on yourself and what you like doing and becoming a more respectable individual by the principles you uphold and by the way that you dress and the standard that you set for yourself, it becomes much easier to go through life and have very good relationships with people, or in anybody that doesn't really like you for who you are, they'll just not talk to you, or they'll just not approach you, or not interact with you. And that's a good thing, because it weeds out all of the people you wouldn't want to spend time with in the first place. I think Tom Hardy was talking about something like that at some point. He said, if there's a part of yourself that is not authentic or original, or that is not true to yourself, and that is honestly degrading your own character and making you feel like shit, you need to cut it out. And you need to cut out the part of yourself that is that seeks approval that from others, that always does some kind of searching in order to get approval or get respect or get this, or feel like other people, like if you feel like you need other people to tell you you are a good person, to feel like a good person, you're wrong. You're not in a very good headspace, because your whole being depends on other people's approval, depends on other people's perception of who you are. And if that is the case with you, you will always lie in order to get the feelings that you want out of other people. But the problem is, this is a two-faced coin, a double-edged sword. And as soon as somebody feels like you betrayed yourself and you aren't actually who you are, and they catch you in the lie, you lose 2 times the amount of respect they had for you. So you need to be very careful with that if you ever use it. On the other hand, If you don't use it, and if you're somebody like me who doesn't give a shit about seeking approval, then in that case, you'll be in a much stronger position, because you'll be coherent with yourself and you won't care. You won't be betraying anybody. You won't be lying to anybody. You'll be honest, you'll be truthful, and even if that hurts a couple people's feelings in the process, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you are yourself. And you don't need approval. You don't need to seek that, I guess, that feeling that people give you. And it's like they praise you and they adore you and they whatever. That's just fucking stupid. So, over the past 4 years, for the most part, I've been focusing on becoming my own man. Becoming my own person. Becoming my own individual that can benefit the collective around me. That either upholds other people, like for instance, I went to the store yesterday to buy some food, and there was a guy there that I hadn't seen in a while that used to go to the gym I go to. And he said like, hey, how's it going? And I said, are you still going to the gym? And he said, oh, I was on vacation, but yeah, I'm going to get back in the gym. I was like, all right, good, like cool, like nice. And I'll hold these people to a higher standard in order for them to think about themselves and think about, if this guy's in my environment, I always feel like doing better or doing more or being more productive or being more efficient. That's what I want for the people around me. I want to benefit the collective as not only a beacon of light, a shining example of what's possible to do, but also be a beacon of positivity for everybody and everything around me, right? I guess you could say it's very different than who I used to be. I used to be the kind of guy that was extremely self-centered, didn't really care about anybody else, would play video games all day, indulge myself in junk food, and really think about, like, I was in the complete opposite of the same coin. So instead of going all the way on becoming a better person and really not giving a shit about anybody else and really only seeking my own approval, and instead going down and not caring and not even seeking my own approval and being selfishly focused on not caring and being indulgent in my own feelings. That's the negative version. I'm going up the positive version. So I'm not going the other way, I'm going upwards, right? Like that was the goal that I set for myself and that I've been focusing on for the past couple years or so. And so what has become clear to me is that I actually understand the need for approval for others. I understand why they want this. It's because for the most part in their lives, they didn't really have any good parents. I had pretty good parents, if I say so myself. Now, they weren't perfect, of course, but at the end of the day, they did help me and they did push me forward and uphold me and say, hey, I love you, hey, I'll always be there for you, And some people don't have that. So they get dependent as soon as somebody gives them a little bit of approval and a little bit of attention. They feel like, oh, this is the best thing in the world, because they've never felt it before. Just gonna go get my umbrella just in case it rains, because I want to finish this video. So if you catch yourself more than once a day thinking to yourself that you need somebody else's approval in order to do better, or to do something else, or to make progress, or to move forward as a man, then in that case, I urge you to take a look in the mirror and understand why you want to seek that approval, and instead what can you do instead of seeking that approval and doing anything to get it? What can you do to become your own man and focus on building yourself in order to get the respect and approval from other people that are equal to you in value? You need to be also careful when it comes to women. If you always seek the approval of women, you'll always be controlled to how they feel. They'll always control you in terms of your emotions and what they want you to do, and they'll tell you what to do, and you will bend to their whims because you're too insecure and you're seeking their approval on a consistent basis. I don't seek anybody's approval, so that makes me a more strong, how would you say this? A strong, independent, you could say. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say a strong, independent person. I'd say man, but that's fucking retarded. So I'd say strong and independent guy. Strong and independent man, strong and independent. It's funny because women say this a lot, now that I think about it. All the fucking feminists and whatnot. So I'm a strong and independent man, and I don't need anybody's approval to understand who I am. I know who I am. I know what I do. I know what I'm working on. I know who I am, my standards. I respect myself. I have self-esteem. And I understand how the world works. So I don't need to go out there and force myself into a relationship in order to get that approval, to get that missing part of the puzzle. No. My puzzle is whole. It is finished. It's complete. So if anybody wants to add to the puzzle, I'm glad to do that. I'm glad to be open to the idea. But I'm not going to force myself to or chase down approval or somebody's love and attention and affection, right? I don't care. What I care about is being strong, stoic, and hardworking in order to get what I want. And what I want is to become a capable man that can provide for the people around me, that can be a leading example for the people around me. I do what's best because I think it's best. And I want other people to do better, so I will lead by example in order for them to think for themselves when they look at me taking action. Because that's the best thing I can do. If everybody led an exemplary lifestyle, nobody would be a loser. Because our society would be completely flipped upside down on its head, and we would only have people that live in a very strong, virtuous type of lifestyle. And they will always do what's best. Push forward, do what's honorable, do what's respectful, do what's good for other people, for the collective, and move forward with that. But the problem is, a lot of people today, especially with industrialization, capitalism, and everything that has been portrayed over the last 100 years or so, it has been much easier for people to become self-centered, to become individualists. And ever since people have started becoming individualists, they've been focused on how they feel and focused on what they want personally, and not how they can benefit the collective anymore. They don't care about their family members. They don't care about their friends. They don't care about their relationships. They only care about what's good for them. What benefits them in the long run? What benefits them by having this? What can I have out of a relationship? Oh, I can have the love and the attention and the respect of the other person. I can have the other person produce kids for me. I can have this, and that. I can have a husband, I can have a wife, I can have this. But what does that do for the people around you? See, when I'm thinking, I think about everything that I do. Like, for instance, I'm looking for a wife, right? I've already defined my standards, who I'm looking for in a relationship. And if that person doesn't meet 70% of my standards, I'm just going to tell them, hey, I'm not going to sugarcoat it in anything. I don't think I can take you seriously, but if you want to have fun from time to time, that's kind of okay if you're not like impeding too much on my time. But at the end of the day, I'm looking for a wife. And if I can't present my wife to my mother and to my father, and they think to themselves that this is somebody they can respect, that upholds the values that I have, then in that case, I'm not going to wife them up. They might be girlfriend at best, but they'll never be a wife. And so this is something I had to ponder long and hard on for quite some time. Through all of my dating experiences, every single time I've went through a relationship, I've kind of understood exactly what I want. And I haven't really beaten around the bush too long, you know? I haven't focused on how I felt. I haven't focused on what I wanted personally. I've focused on what would be good to have as a wife for the future mother of my children, and that I can go to any family meetings with and uphold as, yes, this is my wife, and she looks good, and she looks like, the fact that this is my wife reflects back onto me because I made the choice to wife her up. So if I wife up the wrong person, I'm going to regret that. And I don't want to live a life where I have a single regret. I have no regrets to this very day. And so I want to make sure that I have no regrets till the end of time. Understandable? So, in that case, I want to live a exemplary lifestyle that allows me to not care about what anybody else thinks, and to focus on improving the collective that I care about. And that goes as myself in the first place, right? Now, as soon as you stop caring about being liked by other people, you'll feel this sense of freedom that starts to go through your entire body. And you'll start to understand what you can actually do and the weight that has been lifted off of your shoulders. Because you don't care anymore. It doesn't matter if you do anything not perfectly. It doesn't matter if you're not 100% yourself. It doesn't matter if you're not 100% skilled in something. You are yourself. And that's something you can change. That's something you can improve. That's something you can work on every single day. So by me working every single day on myself, I get the confidence and the self-respect and the self-esteem to understand, even if I'm not the best person out there, I'm already doing better. I'm already pushing forward. And I don't live my life with a single regret. And that entirely depends on how I think. So if you start thinking about other people and you start living for their approval, essentially, what ends up happening is you become addicted to that and you lose yourself in the process. So you need to think for yourself. This video, it's a good thing that you've watched it all the way through. If you have, thank you for watching. But I need you to stop and to think for yourself. What have I been doing? Have I been seeking too much attention? Have I been focused too much on the wrong thing? Have I been doing terrible actually? Have I been doing something that's not original, not authentic? Because if you have, I really urge you to take a look at the mirror, in the mirror at yourself, and really think for yourself, is what I'm doing something that fits with who I want to be? And you'll come to an answer that you like or you dislike, and then it's your choice if you want to change. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. It's a beautiful day. It doesn't really matter if there's clouds or not. The sun is still coming out, so it's time to get back to work. And with that said, I post videos every single day. So if you're interested, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the other videos. And with that said, I will see you in the next one tomorrow. See ya.